Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about Sunny Hostin on The View and her recent comments towards Joe Biden. She basically threatened President Joe Biden regarding Vice President Kamala Harris. Um, Basically saying if you don't use Kamala as a running mate, I don't know why she would say this, but you won't get the black vote. She made a threat to him. And personally, I think I mentioned this our last episode when Sunny Hostin was talking about Joe Biden, how he is too old. And she made some other comments about him. But I said in regards to her, because Kamala Harris is her buddy. She loves Kamala Harris. And I believe she wants to see Kamala Harris as the president. But no one likes Kamala Harris. She's failing in the polls. Also, she's failing even worse than Joe Biden is. So who would have thunk that? Anyway, so we'll discuss that today. Then we're going to turn our attention to the UAW, and it's turned out to be the largest strike in decades. The UAW, they did go on strike last night, and we have some new news about that. And we're going to talk about what they're asking for, what their demands is, and if the three motor companies are actually going to come in agreement with their demands. And some of the demands are kind of outrageous, but it's their demands. So we'll talk about that later on today. And then we got some immigration stuff that we're going to cover and some other stuff that's going on in the US. Okay. So let's get to Sunny Hostin. You guys, I'm not going to play all the video with Sunny Hostin, and because it's not good for streaming purposes. They will demonetize, not only demonetize, they will just cut the video off. So you won't get the whole snippet, but I would basically tell you what happened. So um we're going to play this part with Nancy Pelosi. Now Nancy Pelosi, she was with Andy Cooper or Anderson Cooper. And they're saying Pelosi and the Democrats worries about Biden while there may be some concerns. Everybody's for him. And the main thing for Biden is because he is too old. Now, during this interview, Anderson Cooper asked Pelosi, is Biden here or Harris good for a VP candidate? She's already the vice president. So, but he's asking that, and notice how Pelosi skirts around the question. The own liberals do not even like their own people. It to me is baffling. But this is Pelosi talking about it.
Is Vice President Kamala Harris the best running mate for this president?
He thinks so, and that's what matters. And by the way,
you think so?
She's very politically astute. I don't think people give her enough credit.
But do you think she is the best running mate, though?
She's the vice president of the United States. So when people say to me, well, why isn't she doing this or that? I said, because she's the vice president. That's the job description. You don't do that much.
So you see how she skirted around the question, and everybody's like, now this is the View watching it, and everybody like, oh, she didn't give us like a astounding remark regarding Kamala Harris, because no one literally likes Kamala Harris, not even her own people. Is that surprising to you? That Kamala Harris, and they're going to mention it in this show, Kamala Harris her polling is so low, it's lower than any vice president in history. And some of these cackling hens on The View will say, well, it's because she's a Black and she's a woman. You don't get those type of questions. No other vice president received this type of scrutiny because she's Black and a woman. And it's like, no, they received scrutiny. You just want to highlight that she's Black and a woman. Now, maybe some people don't like women to be in powerful positions. We could acknowledge that. But you are second in the command to the leader of the free world. So why do you think you will not be scrutinized? And why do everyone especially on the View, don't think she will be scrutinized? So you could see Whoopi Goldberg is scratching her head why Pelosi answered this question that way. Because she don't like her. That's basically what it is. And she's not favorable. So I'm just skipping ahead because I want to show you guys something. Now look at Sunny. Look at her face. Her face is always looking like, oh, why is she talking about that's my home girl, Kamala Harris. Because remember I told you guys a couple of days ago when we were talking about Sunny Hostin, she wants Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris on a ticket. That's who she wants. Gavin Newsom is her boyfriend and Kamala Harris is her boyfriend. But this is her message to Joe Biden.
He was the one that I thought was dangerous. They called Kamala Harris dangerous. Dick Cheney was dangerous. That war hawker.
But I have to say, Nancy Pelosi is incredibly politically astute.
That's Lissa Fair. She's talking about Nancy Pelosi being politically astute. She's wondering why she skirted the question. Okay, so we know that. And Alyssa, like I said, she straddled the fence, but she does have a good talking point. She basically says that you got to wonder. You have to wonder. He is historically unfavorable. He's comparable to Jimmy Carter in the Malice era when he didn't win a re-election. So I think the Democrats' message, which is a smart one, is the future of American Republic is on the line if it's against Donald Trump. Okay, so they're saying they're so unfavorable. If they took the poll or if they voted now, every single last Republican candidate will win against Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. All the candidates. I'm going to show it to you guys, but literally all the candidates. All the Republican candidates that's running now will literally win against Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as we stand today. That's the poll they took. Okay. And these are some Democrats are switching over to vote Republican. Now, like I said, let's get to Sunny Hostin, where she just unraveled. Sunny, like she literally unraveled in this. And it's like, what is wrong with you, lady? But and you guys, I will place, when I upload this video, I will place the whole, video in the video. I will place the whole video in the video. Okay, so this is Sunny Hostin.
Over the past 5 elections where you've had a Democrat win, they needed the black vote. 91% of African Americans voted for Biden and will continue to vote for Biden if Kamala is his running mate.
But you fail to realize they don't, number one, they don't need the black vote anymore. Because that's why they got all these immigrants coming over. They're going to give them voting power. And have you guys heard? Chicago is talking about giving police jobs to immigrants. Illegal immigrants. They don't even have the actual citizenship here. And your mayor, illustrious Mayor Brandon Johnson, is talking about giving illegal immigrants police power. Baffling to me. So, Sonny, Democrats, yeah, they don't need your vote, really, they don't need your vote. And it's a shame that Democrats or black women vote at an overwhelming rate of 90% Democrat. This is prior to Joe Biden. All the elections, they've always voted Democrat. The ticket, you guys made threats to Joe Biden, and y'all put 6 women, bad women. These were not even women. The best one was Kamala Harris, but one woman, I forget what that lady's name. She was running for governor. She lost twice, and she tried to say, "Oh, the election was rigged." You guys put it in the chat if you remember the lady's name. And so they had 6 different black women that they wanted to Joe Biden to pick as his running mate. And he decided to pick Kamala Harris, probably because she had the most experience in politics. But Sonny, you're saying that we won't vote Democrat anymore, but that's all we vote. And I'm not talking about we, myself. I'm talking about you. Most black women vote Democrat. And they will still always vote Democrat because why? The other party is racist. They want you to believe that the other party is racist. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but that's just the basis of what they believe. Okay? So this is what Sonny is talking about.
I would be very careful, President Biden, about getting rid of Kamala Harris because we will not support you.
Wait a minute. Hold up. When have you ever seen? No, your opinion is valid and beautiful and all of that. But when was the last time you saw anybody get rid of a vice president?
Nobody does that.
That's what I said. She went way left. Okay, so Kamala Harris is not popular. Biden is not popular. But they're not going to get rid of each other. But they might get rid of Biden. They might get rid of Biden. Because everyone says he's too old. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Top of mind awareness is Biden is too old. That's the trauma of the presidential election. When you think of Biden, top of mind, it's, oh, that's the guy who's too old. So she went on this rant. I'm going to get to your comments. Yo, Jay. We got a super chat. Thank you, brother. Real Estate J. Jones. The Democrats are in trouble. Polls show Vivek Trump will beat Biden. DeSantis will lose by 3 points. LOL. Hiding Biden is too old. Exactly. My sentiments exactly. And you know what? What's her name? Sunny Hostin. Stop all this rhetoric. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose this election, and it doesn't matter if Kamala Harris is on the ticket because nobody likes her. And so you put this hypothetical situation in your head. You better not get rid of Kamala Harris because no black people will vote for you. You will lose the election. Well, they're already going to lose the election because they got a losing ticket. They got a losing ticket. Anyway, the battles. Stacey Adams. Remember Stacey Adams? She a grand loser. And you guys, you might think that I like talking about black women like this, but I don't. It don't fill me with joy on the inside. I hate talking about black women in this type of manner. But like Stacey Adams, she was a total loser, and she was actually a victim. She's all about the victimization of black people and black women. And I think she was a lesbian, right? I think Stacey Adams is a lesbian. But what I'm saying to you is they put a list of candidates for Joe Biden to choose prior to him choosing his running mate. And they were all black women. And they all, besides Kamala Harris, to me, in my eyes, I mean, none of them were like good. None of these candidates were good. So when he picked Kamala Harris, okay, everybody was like black girl magic. So that's what Sunny Hostin problem is. She wants Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom as the ticket. And I know you guys might laugh about that, but if you seen that last show with Sunny Hostin talking about Gavin Newsom, it seemed like she would leave her man over Gavin Newsom. That's how much she was talking about him. Like, ooh, he is so fine. Like, what does that have anything to do with politics? And he's a losing ticket too, because look at the state of California. California is like, we need to excommunicate California off the map. We need to, make them not a part of the US. Okay, we should have only 49 states because California has gone so far and so unholy that they don't need to be a part of the United States. Anyway, because this country, we're supposed to be built on God and godly principles. That's what they put on the bill. In God we trust. But apparently California don't believe in God. They believe in 900 genders, and they trying to take away your kids because you don't affirm their identity. Like I said, I don't want to get into a rant, but this is what's going on. So we're going to move on from The View because, I tell you, the cackly hands, they have me, my blood pressure rising for no reason, because I'm thinking like, how can you be so ignorant to the fact, like, what world are you living in? You don't trust the polls. You don't trust anyone else. You don't trust even your mainstream media. CNN is reporting this, and you don't trust them of what they're saying. They're saying they are a losing ticket. With Kamala on or off, losers. Okay, so we're going to turn our focus to the UAW. You guys remember, like, share, subscribe, and comment on this video. It will help me with the YouTube algorithm. We're turning our focus on the UAW strike.
The union is...
Now, this is CEO Mary, I think her name is Mary Barra. I think that's what her name is. And she was questioning her about how much she made over the year. Now, she's the CEO of GM. And the lady questioned, okay, did you get a raise? And she said, well, my raise is performance-based. So it's based off if we sell, you know. And so we'll just watch this. It's about a minute long. And then I have some other information about the UAW.
Is demanding, asking for a 40% wage increase over 4 years. They're asking for that in part because they say CEOs like yourself, leading the big three, are making those kind of pay increases over the course of the last 4 years. You've seen a 34% pay increase in your salary. You make almost $30 million. Why should your workers not get the same type of pay increases that you're getting leading the company?
Well, if you look at compensation, my compensation, 92% of it is based on performance of the company. I think one of the strong aspects of the way our compensation for our represented employees is designed is not only are we putting a 20% increase on the table, we have profit sharing. So when the company does well, everyone does well. And for the last several years, that's resulted in record profit sharing for our represented employees. And I think you have to look at the whole compensation package, not only 20% increase in gross wage, but also the profit sharing aspect of it, world-class health care, and there's several other features. So we think we have a very competitive offer on the table, and that's why we want to get back there and get this done.
But if you're getting a 34% pay increase over 4 years and you're offering 20% to employees right now, do you think that's fair?
Well, I think when you look at the overall structure and the fact that 92% is based on performance, and you look at what we've been doing of sharing in the profitability when the company does well, I think we've got a very compelling offer on the table, and that's the focus I have right now.
Now, I kind of agree with her. You know, when you have performance-based salary, that's based on, you know, your performance. So if the company, and so she's the head of the company, if the company performance was poor, she wouldn't have received that $30 million. Now, $30 million is an astronomical amount of money. So I would like to see what percentage they awarded her based off the profits. So let's see what GM profited last year. So 13.6 billion. And they said it's a gross profit was 20.9 billion in 2022. So it was up a 30% increase. So they gave her a 30% increase or whatever that percentage off the profit. Okay. So anyway, so that's why her pay was increased. Now, the profit for 2020 was a 13.6, which declined from 2015, but 2020 was the year of COVID. So we could see that profit went down. But why was the 30% increase? Now, I'm just showing this to you before I go to the article. Why was the 30% increase on the profit? Because the vehicle price went up 30%. Inflation went up 30%, or inflation costs of the vehicle. They went up. It went up 30%. So they probably had to spend more on getting stuff here. Maybe the chips. I know some of the chips were not available in some of those cars. So that's probably why they have a 30% increase in their annual profit. Now, can we say workers deserve as much as the VP? You guys put it in the chat. Do the workers deserve as much as the CEO of the company or even the owner of the company. Because if we say that, then we need to, like Mary Myers said, if you haven't owned a business, this is how business works. You can't just pay your employee. You have to pay employee insurance. They get a base pay, employee insurance, employee profit sharing. That's if they have profit sharing. Employee pension plan, if they have a pension plan. In most motor companies, they do have some type of pension plan. And then not only pension plan, they do have 401k, which is a separate pension off the pension. So you get your employer's pension plan when you retire, and then you got that 401k that the company will match it. That's all about their total package. And when she said World Star Healthcare, they do. My husband, he works for one of the motor companies, and we do get really good healthcare. So we have to consider all in their salary before we say, okay, they don't get enough. So, but that's one. So do they deserve the 30% or 40? They want a 40% increase. Now, I will tell you this is just an insider information. They have not received the raise since the bailout. And the bailout happened in 2008, I believe. So all those, if you worked at GM, whatever, you're maxed out. Your pay is maxed out. They have not received any other additional cost living expense raise or anything since the bailout. So, but the cost of living has increased. So is that fair? And that's 2007. That's literally what, 10, 15 years? You haven't received a raise and you just you haven't received a raise. I'm laughing, but their rate is pretty good, but I'm laughing because, like, just imagine working at a job and you thinking you're doing good. Maybe your performance is not decreasing, and it hasn't, but you haven't received a raise in 15 years. So would you be mad as hell? Would you be mad? I'm laughing because we're talking about giving the 40% raise. So that's why Shawn Fain is, talking about we want all our demands met. But the 40% demand is not just what they want. They also want, let me just pull it up here for you guys to see. Okay, so this is it. It's what's on the table. It says, this is what they proposed. The UAW and Detroit 3 are exchanging proposals over wages and benefits, and as the two sides look to reach tentative agreements on new contracts before September the 14th deadline. Here's the latest information available on what's in those offers. So this is actually what they're offering them. Okay, so Ford proposed a 20% increase. GM 18, Stellantis is 17.5. UAW, their demands is 30%. Wage growth in 4 years. They all put 4 years, but UAW, he said, no, we want it grown in 90 days. I mean, he's not giving them no room for negotiation. So then it also says all workers pay equally after grow in. I don't know what that means. GM pros different wage scales remain for customer care, after sales, General Motors components holding. They want all workers paid equally. I'm not for sure about that, because you got some people that actually are skilled trade that went to school or some type of vocational school. Why would they want to get paid for the same amount for the guy working racking parts, or the same guy that's sweeping the floor? That to me, that's ludicrous. But anyway, they want all workers paid equally. I'm assuming that all workers pay equally in that grade of workmanship. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about, because if he's talking about the latter, all workers pay equally, that doesn't even make any sense, because all workers are not equal. Okay, so if I'm a die setter, I don't want to get paid the same as a person racking parts, because setting the die is way more dangerous and acquires way more skill than a person racking parts. Okay. So anyway, temporary workers starting at $20 an hour. All temps converted to full-time status immediately. I think he's trying to say that because they want more people in the union. If we have temporary workers, they're not in the union. They're not paying into the union. So they're at will. We could lay them off and we don't have to pay them benefits. We don't have to do none of that stuff. They don't need no pension plan or anything like that, because one person, your wage, your salary might be $25 an hour, but after everything's said and done, you probably end up making maybe $40 an hour, because of the insurance, the pension, the 401k match, and all the other benefits that comes with being an employee of a motor company. Now, this is my own personal opinion, because I own a business. I number one, I probably will not stop paying my workers indefinitely. If the economy was bad, I would go to them and say, hey, this XYZ is going on in the economy. I can't afford to pay you. So you're gonna give you a pay increase. So you just gonna have to work with me. If they can't work with me, I'm not gonna fold my company because they can't work with me. I'll just probably lose that employee, and I have to hire somebody that will be willing to work for that lesser wage. That's why this is a dangerous game. What they're playing right now is because, did you guys see how many men immigrants is coming over? I know I keep on harping on that, but they're not women and children coming over. These are men immigrants coming over. Okay, so vacation time, the demand was more time off and paid holidays. They do get paid holidays. I don't know, but what's more time off? You're not being realistic. You probably should put it in a tier. I'm not going to give you 5 weeks off and you just got there yesterday. Okay, so usually people that get 5 weeks off have been with the company a long time. You normally don't see that. GM needs to stop being woke. They said 16 to 18 days per year, including Juneteenth. Nobody likes Juneteenth. I'm telling you, Juneteenth is a fake holiday. You Black Pan Africans that listen to my show, don't be emailing me saying, Chawanne, how can you say that? Juneteenth, we don't need it as a holiday. So stop the madness, GM. Even Ford is Stellantis. Juneteenth. Why did you Juneteenth add it as a holiday? Okay, Stellantis, I'm with it. You added Juneteenth as a holiday, but Stellantis, Stellantis is a foreign organizations. So they probably like, what the hell is Juneteenth? I heard of all the other American holidays, but we don't even know Juneteenth. So somebody had to tell them, well, you know, we got a lot of Black workers. You might want to add Juneteenth. If I was them, like, damn, y'all gave Martin Luther King off. Ain't that enough? Ain't that enough? Y'all gave Martin Luther King off. This next contract, whenever this contract expired, they're gonna ask for the whole month of February off because it's Black History Month. Okay, let me stop. I don't want to get canceled. Okay, I'm just joking, you guys. I'm being facetious. Okay, so they said more time paid off, more time off and paid holidays. So that's the UAW demand. The layoff protection. It says continue pay during layoffs and right to strike over plant closures. Majority of the pay for limited time. I think that's what they have now because, you know, if they laid off, they could tap into the, I think that FMLA or whatever they have. It's like a little fund that they leave if they lay them off, but it's only 60% of their pay, I believe. Right to strike over plant closures. Okay, whatever. Return to defined benefit pensions. They said 401k contribution no longer capped at 2,080 hours a year. I think they put that because they work a lot of overtime. That's Ford proposal. GM proposal 401k contribution. Atlantis proposal 401k contribution. They already do that. I don't know whether, I think he's trying to say because now if you work or if you got hired in after, I think 90, I forget what the actual year is, you don't have an actual pension plan from the company. Now, this is Chrysler. I know this to be true for Chrysler. I don't know what the other deal is for UAW. I guess they have the same type of thing, but you get a separate, now you got your 401k, but you get a separate pension plan from the actual company where they put money aside for you. And if you make it to 25 years, you get a certain amount. You make it to 30 years, you get a certain amount. And that pension is for you. And you could, if you end up passing away, they leave it to your spouse, you know. So anyway, I think that's what they're saying. I don't know if they're going to do that. You know, I don't know if it's feasible. But they haven't, they still get profit sharing. Profit sharing is basically, hey, our company is doing good, or it did good in the last fiscal year, and these are your bonuses because we did so well. So, I mean, you got to take in account for all that. So if you do well, you get a larger profit share. But if you don't, if the company doesn't do well because of the economy or a decline in sales, your profit sharing, it tends to be a little bit smaller. Okay. They're talking about a ratification bonus, $6,500 for temps, not specified. I don't know what that means, ratification bonus. Anyway, so that's the list of the demands and what they're at this time. Now, I do want to mention that Ford just laid off some people. They told people not to come in. I think it was like 600 people at the plant. Where am I at? Okay, yeah. CNN Vanessa Yurkovich told Fame that Ford announced they will lay off 600 workers. Let me just share this tab. 600 workers, and GM will idle about 2,000 workers starting next week. She asked if they will get strike pay given some of those individuals are not eligible for supplemental pay from the companies, and some may not be eligible for unemployment either. And he mentioned our members are going to be taken care of no matter what happens, Fain says. But those temporary workers, they're not going to be taken care of because they're not in the union. That's why Fain wants to eliminate those jobs because and automatically make those temporary full-time because they could pay into the union. So Fain said our members meaning you can't, I don't even think you could elect to be in a union or not. It's you're full-time, you're a full-time, I think it's non-exempt worker or whatever, non-salary worker, you pay into the union automatically. And I don't think you could choose whether or not if you want to be in the union. It's just like an automatic process. So that's why he wants to, get rid of those temporary workers. He said we have their backs and they have our back. Financially, so she pressed for more details on how financially the workers will be taken care of, but Fain didn't provide an answer. Fain was asked if the Biden administration will help or hurt the union's case. I'm not worried about the Biden administration right now. This is our job. This is our fight, he said. I could tell you right now, that green energy deal or whatever, and they changing not to sell cars in California, gas powered cars in California, and they're trying to change everything to electric vehicles by 2035. It's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you because now we got to outfit. We have to outfit these plants to construct EMVs, not gas powered vehicles. So essentially, you probably will have less workers because it's probably more robotics. And they switching to a lot of robotics anyway in some of these plants, some assembly plants. So you're gonna lose some jobs, some positions with that. Bernie Sanders is out. He calls on the auto CEOs to end your greed. And he wants everybody to know. All of you know that there was once a time when a union job in the automotive industry was the gold standard for working class in America. Well, we are determined to bring those days back again. That's what Bernie said. And there's somebody put the strikes could help Toyota truck sales. Of course, any foreign company, if they're reasonable, it probably could help their sales. And they also put GM says Kansas plant may run out of parts next week due to strikes. Currently, the Wentzville team is providing critical stamping to Fairfax. Due to this strike impact on Wentzville operation, we anticipate running out of parts for Fairfax as soon as early as next week. An internal memo sent on Friday. So the big three auto workers, including Ford, Stellantis, and GM, begin a strike, which staff about 3,600 UAW members. And it says, this is what the General Motors said to CNN. It says, unfortunate that the UAW leadership decision to call a strike at Wentzville Assembly has already had a negative ripple effect with GM's Fairfax assembly plant in Kansas and its 2,000 team members expected to be idle as soon as next week. So, and I told you 600 people are going to be laid off at the trunk plant in Wayne, Michigan. That's where they paint. That's the final assembly part. And they said they don't need them because wherever they are striking now, I guess that's the upstream of their business. So they're not going to get any more cars coming in. So why would we need them? So the 3 plants could potentially lose production of 25,000 vehicles. It says the Anderson Economic Group based its unit loss estimate on 10 days of shutdown production using the 2023 plant production data. It says Stellantis plant in Toledo, since they're striking in Toledo first, their production losses is about 13,000 Jeeps and Gladiators and Jeep Wranglers. And it goes on. You know, it goes on. But hopefully, you know, they will come to some type of agreement soon, because it's going to have a ripple effect. Because if you really think about the car industry, especially in Michigan, Michigan has like our whole GDP. I don't know what the percentage is for automotive. Michigan, let me just type it in there, GDP. Michigan GDP by industry. I'm going to share this with you. Manufacturing, it's like 97%. It doesn't break it down to manufacturing or what type of manufacturing, but they're saying it's 97. $97.7 billion. What is the gross? It's the top, whatever it is. It seems like it's probably like maybe 50%. Or maybe it's probably a little bit less. But anyway, like I said, it's really going to hurt really everything in Michigan and other tier 2, tier 3 automotive companies. Those people are going to start to feel the effect, because now we don't need those parts because we're not making any cars. So it's going to mess up a bunch of different industries. So this strike will be impactful. But I wonder, when will they strike a deal? You know, when will they strike? Jim McQueen says UAW is always on strike. I can remember as far as back as the 80s. Now, Jim, I don't know. Have you ever seen a strike where all 3 of the companies strike together? Usually it was like, okay, you have Stellantis or Chrysler going on strike, then the other 2 will be, you know, working, or vice versa. I don't think I ever seen all of them on strike together, you know. So this, like I said, this is going to be interesting. And hopefully it don't get too bad. You know, hopefully it won't get too bad. Now, so that's it for talking about UAW. Now we're going to talk about immigration. AOC, our favorite person. Well, I don't talk about her a lot because I think she's not all there. She's kind of not all there to me. She was, share this tab. She was out and about. I don't know if she was trying to campaign or what was going on. But the crowd did not like her. The crowd did not like AOC. They just overtalked her. And this is one of the interactions with AOC. Now look at this lady. We're not even sure with the music. The volume is not even up. The volume's not even up. And I want you to see this lady face. She is upset. Now, they're at the Roosevelt Hotel. The Roosevelt Hotel, they went there to, I guess, take a look around at the space to tour the hotel where the migrants are staying. Why would you do that? It's a hotel. Now, can we say these conditions are deplorable? We don't know how they living in the hotel, but why would you want to tour it? Like it's a grand opening or something. I guess she wants to see maybe if they're treating them humane, but like they literally are living in a hotel. That's costing, this is a story that we talked about before, that's costing $6,000 a month. And this hotel, the Roosevelt Hotel, is owned by somebody in Pakistan. Or I think it's Iran or Pakistan, one of those two. But it's not even a US-based owned hotel. So if you were going to give money, this is why it's so unreal to me. If you were going to give anybody money, any type of money, if you're trying to fund some business, okay, you're saying we're going to bring in immigrants and we're going to pay for them to stay. And you decide to use a hotel that's not even American owned. How un-American is that? And that's why I said my last stream, the government loves everybody that's un-American. Everybody that's un-American, that's even in America, or even citizens. Have you guys noticed that? The people that don't like America, that's citizen, they have the most grievances and stuff with America, number one, but they have all these protections for them. You don't like America. And then now you're bringing over people that don't really like America. They're just over here. Now, let me digress. Some immigrants are over here to get a better life, but they entered our country illegal. And now we got to foot the bill. But this is the most un-American thing I ever heard. That you're going to pay $6,000 per resident, per immigrant, to stay in this hotel, $6,000 a month, but it's going to a foreign country. Does anyone see the craziness in that? That's totally ludicrous. It's insane. But this is your American government. This is the people that we voted in the office. And they mad as hell as AOC, but you voted her in there.
Yeah, that's what is there. What is this here? manifest itself here. But I think these are contentious issues. But we are all Americans, and we all believe in the American dream. That's the common denominator. The American.
Just walk freely in this country. How about that? You're blocking traffic. You're blocking traffic. Excuse me, you're impeding my way. Move.
Legal versus illegal petition. I got it. Don't worry about me, bro.
There's 100 of our colleagues urging the
and vigilant, work and receive information from grassroots communities, migrant families themselves, mutual aid organizations, and more. But right now, I think our main focus is the federal response so that we have resources and a path to citizenship necessary, or a path to documentation necessary.
How about path to deportation? I mean, AOC is the most craziest person I've ever met in the office. You know, I mean, and I ain't never met her, but she's not all there. I mean, we talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think she's pretty out there. But this lady, like, her logic is not logical. It's the stuff that she doesn't even make sense. You have a bleeding heart. First, it was like, oh, end homelessness. Remember the guy that got choked up in the subway and he ended up passing away? He was, they call it houselessness. Oh, if you did this because he was Black, and what we have a homelessness problem in the U.S. and New York, but now you bring a whole bunch of other homeless people. So you just piled more people on top of homeless people. And then you expect your citizen to like you, the people that you represent, your constituents. And they pissed off because it's a lot of loitering. It's probably a lot of violence, a lot of criminal activity that's going on. They're probably butting heads with the normal citizens. And they caused this. And when I use the word they, the federal government and these liberal safe haven nut jobs caused this problem.
And Mayor Eric Adams said that the city wouldn't cater to... I have to run. Thank you.
Open it up.
Focus on causing this division. Come here. It's all the to you, motherfuckers. You think you're something special. How is that bringing unity to this nation when you're taking care of illegal immigrants over your own citizens? You're trapping them on the top. Close the border! Close the border! Look at this country. They are illegal aliens. They are illegal aliens. That's what they are. Illegal aliens. Illegal aliens.
These are not e-bikes. These things can go 150 miles an hour, 85 miles an hour. They need to be registered. We was at City Hall yesterday. We're encouraging all the council members to support
So that happened when she was out there campaigning, I guess. It says AOC just tried to gaslight 8.5 million people whose city has been visibly overrun and vandalized by illegal migrants, that everything is okay. The response from the New Yorkers on the street was pure perfection as the utterly drowned out AOC chanting, "Close the borders, send them back." She eventually retreated back into the building. Has anyone checked on her? So they're upset. This is the guy that got into the shoving match, and Fox News was interviewing him.
To get their school supplies. I had to spend hundreds of dollars to get their school supplies. They're coming here not vaccinated. We just had a COVID crisis. They shut our businesses down. They fired teachers, fire department, for not getting vaccinated.
Who do you think needs to do more? We hear from the mayor of New York, who says he's doing everything he can every day as migrants continue to come in. We are. I will say too, we're live on air, so. But you know, what do you think about what the mayor's doing, and what should the president and the White House be doing?
This is up to us. This is up to each and every one of us to stand up. Nobody's coming here for us. Right. We're here for ourselves. If we don't get up and fight for our city, nobody's coming for us. They're coming to destroy it. The reason why they're here is to steal our votes. Right. We're not going to be able to live. They're stealing our votes, our kids' future, my birthright, our United States, this great city that I refuse to leave. Do you understand? Nobody's coming for us. These elected officials aren't even elected. They're using absentee ballots. They're being selected.
They're operating without. What did you think that AOC, you know, when she came out and
you hear he said they using absentee ballots. They using absentee ballots for the election. They're selected officials.
Other members of Congress, and they had this press conference. What did you think about their comments?
They will never be allowed to walk down the streets again. They have destroyed our city, and New York, especially Queens, is woken up.
Let's pull away from this. You see the anger among some on the streets of New York City. Representative Kamek, I wanted to go there and just listen to a little bit of that. Look, Biden's policies are taking a beating today. It's the people who have come have been told that there's an open door, and you know what? There is. So they arrive and push American citizens out of the way because there's so many of them and so many of us.
Absolutely. I mean, you just hear the frustration and the anger in his voice. It's hard not to get emotional listening to that because it's not just in New York that we are.
Yeah, it's not just in New York. That's what she's about to say. It's not just in New York that we see this. It's all in these larger major cities where there are safe havens for migrants. You know, and they're making sure that their citizens are last and the migrants are first. That's what they're doing. This is Jerry Nadler. They're trying to hold a press conference, but they can't because people are chatting.
I applaud over 100 of our colleagues to urge the administration to use all the tools available to them to provide stability to asylum seekers and undocumented immigrants in our communities. The administration has the flexibility to provide faster access to employment authorization documents and to protect families by redesignating Venezuela for temporary protected status. I was proud to join Ms. Espaillat's bipartisan letter regarding this common sense idea. The problems that led to Venezuela's previous designation in 2021 remain pervasive today. The solutions my colleagues and I are advocating for are squarely within the administration's purview and will benefit us all. Immigrants make America strong, and nowhere is that clearer than right here in New York. In a city that's always changing, the one constant is that people from around the world want to come here to build a better life for themselves, and we're all the better for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you want to say something about what's happening here in New York City?
Sorry.
Do you want to understand what's happening here in New York City? The schools are
New York is welcoming countless migrants. We set up this center here at the Griswold Hotel to process these migrants, to make sure they're fully vaccinated, to make sure to connect them with relatives and send them on their way if they know where they want to go, to give them employment counseling. What?
You know where they're going on the tour because there are some issues.
I'm sorry?
There are some issues in the schools in New York City.
There are issues in the what?
The schools in New York City.
What about them?
Okay, there's an overload of students, and we need more ESL
Well, we
teachers.
certainly need more ESL teachers, and we need more help from the federal government, without question.
Okay.
And one of the key things the federal government can do is to provide temporary protected status for Venezuelans who are more than half the migrants, so they can get work permits immediately.
Okay, and
so they trying to get Venezuelans work permits immediately. They're saying it's half of the immigrants that's coming over, I guess that's in New York City or just coming over here, period, is from Venezuela. I know that the American government funds or provides money towards the Venezuelan government because of immigration. So not only they're giving them money, I guess, to keep them there, I'm not for sure. But the Venezuelan government is receiving money from the United States, and they supposed to have some type of open line of communication, and they're still coming over here, and we got to pay for that as well. I believe if I go back to that document, I believe we already gave them like $30 or $40 million in the past.
can you identify yourself?
And this is just the Venezuelan government alone.
I'm Congressman Gerald Nadler of New York, right here, in fact.
Okay, excellent.
So we pretty much saw that part. So they mad as hell, the citizens. And who could blame them? I know if I was there, I would be mad. And did you hear them? That's the processing center. Their immigrants come. Now, this is just New York only, I guess New York City. They come and stay at the Roosevelt Hotel. They process them. I guess after they process them, processing includes a work visa. I guess they help them find a job, process their citizenship application. They no longer could use DACA because they struck that down. So I don't know how they're processing them, but they're getting the COVID vaccine shot. So they're vaccinating everyone that's coming over here. Who's paying for the vaccination? I guess we are. The federal government, in turn, you're paying for citizens to get your vaccination, even if you don't agree with vaccinations. Robert Jordan says send in BLM to straighten things out. Ken said USA collapsed Venezuela government. Now USA want their oil so we could reverse our position. Yeah, I agree with that. We put fake prez into Venezuela. They overthrown him a few years ago. Yeah, what was that guy's name? Hugo. It was a Hugo. It was a failed coup. Hugo Chavez. Was it Chavez? Or did Chavez, was that the guy who got who got killed. Or they tried to kill him or whatever. Anyway. Yeah, so immigration is a problem for the US. And like I said, the UAW, they're on strike, and they might want to check their position, because if they start laying off people and the US government fast track these work visas, they might not need you anymore for most of the jobs. They're probably going to have a lot of immigrants in there, and you don't need to be able to speak English to say, hey, this is what you do. You take this part off the rack and you put it on the, or take this part off the assembly line and put it on the rack. Habla español? No habla español? Oh, look, see. That's all you need to do. You don't need to like speak fluent English to do some of these jobs at the plant. So that's the climate we're living in. Now, speaking of the climate we're living in, I always got to get ratchet on Fridays. Well, it all depends on what I find on my Twitter feed, but we always got to get some type of ratchetness. And I got a ratchet story to tell you guys. Now, this is not a ratchet story, but this is from a ratchet person, and she has a ratchet story. Now, when we talk about relationships and how relationships or the family structure is affecting the Black community, like we have no family structure. 3 out of 4 Black women would never marry. We also have a statistics where 70% of households that have children are from single parents. Okay, so 70% of children are growing up in a single parent household. So I think it has something to do with we lost touch of who we really are. We don't look to see. We don't believe in higher power. Some of us, we don't pray. We don't believe in God. Even if we do believe in God, we don't even have a close relationship with Jesus. And I think since we've been going down this path of it's okay to have a baby daddy, it's okay. You don't have to read your Bible. You don't have to study the word or have a close relationship with God. Because everybody doesn't believe in God. We're saying that is okay. That we're trying to normalize that type of thing. So the kids that's growing up now, when I'm saying kids, like the young females and young males that's coming up now, they're even far off from God because their parents didn't teach them how to pray and what to believe in and what's a good family home because they didn't grow up in one. So I'm saying all this to say it's ruined like our mindset of how we view the world. So much so.
I was just in high.
This is the girl from Pound Town. Now, to me, she's not a looker at all. She just, I guess I guess you would call it a normal black girl. She didn't have all that stuff on her. She would be literally a normal black girl. And she was saying the most romantic thing that a man has ever done for her was to rob on Valentine's Day, then gave her all the money. It was just so sweet. That's what she said. And I'm going to let you listen to her. Now, we know she's not about anything because her song is Pound Town. Y'all know that one song. That is disgusting. But this is who they prop up to represent black women. She got 3 baby daddies, I think, or 2 baby daddies. And both of them was in prison. She was doing an interview. And while they was doing the interview, the guy called both of her baby daddies was in prison.
Want to be honest, the most romantic thing somebody did for me, it was my first boyfriend. I was just in high school. He was a little older than me, and it was Valentine's Day. I'll never forget. He robbed somebody and gave me the money and gave me the bill he stole, and it was just so sweet because he was out of breath and stuff. He's like, "Here, I just got this for you." I was like, "Oh, so sweet. Thank you."
And then I want you guys to notice this head. Like, we know it's a wig, but why does it look like that? Why do you even look like that? And are guys really attracted to this? The way she look?
Thank you, because nobody never did nothing like that for me. He stole.
A guy stealing for you is sweet and romantic.
For me, so I'm like, oh, you did that for me, really? How old were you? I was like 15. I was 15. Yeah, 15. That was my first boyfriend. And that's the first time somebody ever had got me a gift or tried to do something for me. And I know he didn't have it. So the fact that you still made a way and you did what you had to do, that was nice. And it was only $13. But it was nice. And it was a fake Gucci belt. But I was so, it was sweet.
That was sweet. But whoever raised her didn't say, "Oh, you stole that." Now, back in the day, a woman would have been like, I don't, yeah, that was nice, but I don't think I could accept that. And we would have ran away from him because you out here robbing people for $13. Oh, this dude, he's the stick-up man or growing into the stick-up man. You wouldn't want to be associated with that. But she thinks it's sweet. Now, I don't know how old she is. She's 25. So well, I guess that was in the early mid 2000s or 2015. She was 15, so that was 10 years ago. 2013. That was cool to do that then. To me, that's ridiculous. Rum Runner, Pound Town is they talking about the do the dirty flamingo. That's her song, and is very explicit, and she talking about it's very elementary language, and she talking about her booty hole in her coochie. She literally says that. And she describes it. And this is what, and they had that, they highlighted on her on the BET Awards, like she was a lyricist. You're not a lyricist. Like literally the rap that she raps, a kid could rap it without the explicit. Like my son, he likes, he has I bought him a little journal because he goes around trying to rap, but he likes to listen to KRS-One, old school Big Daddy Kane. He loves what's the guy's name? But we're older, like his dad listened to all that stuff. But that's like, I think KRS-One, I think that's who he said it was his favorite rapper. So he writes his rhymes in his book, and his vocabulary is way more extensive than this lady. And he's 9. So her raps is like almost very elementary. Maybe a 4 or 5-year-old could rap it without the explicit. Like if you don't let your kids talk nasty like that, without the explicits. But she's very elementary. But they highlighted her on BET, and then she was up there dancing, and then they had this one girl next to her, and she was pregnant, and she was pregnant twerking. This was on the BET Awards, pregnant twerking. Let me see if I can find it for you, since we're talking about it. Matter of fact, I'll find the song for you. And you're going to be like, what the hell? And this song went viral. And this is all what she does. I'm pretty sure she can't really read. Every time you see her, she's not from New York, but she's with the owner. She has all this fame. She's like a plant that they planted for these. Maybe she's letting them have sex with her. I'm not for sure. Why would he want a picture with her? This is the jet owner, Woody Johnson. He's taking a picture with Pound Town Girl. And she's not cute. And she can't rap. And Nicki Minaj made it even famous, because she did a compilation with her. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, this is it. Niggas love a bad bitch. This is what they saying. Real sleazy. I wish I could find that when she first came out with this. It was just unreal. You had Ben Shapiro talking about it like, I guess this is the charts. I don't see her on there. But anyway, let me see if it will come up. I don't think it came out a while ago, maybe during the summer, and I know it went viral only because people couldn't really believe what they were hearing. And maybe they put Nicki Minaj on it to revive the song. But I don't know. Why would you? Oh, this is her.
Where the niggas? I'm looking for the hoe. I'm out of town, thugging with my rounds. My coochie pink, my booty hole brown. Where the niggas? I'm looking for the hoes. Quit playing, nigga. Come suck a bitch toes. I'm thinking like everybody coochie pink, you know, and booty hole was brown. But I just found out it's not. I swear to God, I just found out. Somebody talking about they booty hole pink. I ain't never heard of no pink booty hole.
And so they're giving her a platform. And this is what we have to deal with when we're talking about, oh, they don't respect Black women. Well, look what the image that they portray as Black women. This big, sexy. She got so much tattoos on her face. She got a tattoo right here. Why would you put a tattoo right here? She got a tattoo all over here. I think she got a tattoo up here. All on her breasts. And right here. And she's not smart at all. So that's what we're dealing with. And her homegirl, I think her and Sukihana hangs out. Sukihana is another real nasty person. I showed you guys a couple of days ago, they had the VMA Awards. You know, okay, Nicki Minaj, she talks nasty. Sometimes she all her songs are not like real raunchy, but Nicki Minaj talk nasty. Megan Thee Stallion talks nasty. You got Cardi B talk nasty. Not one time have you seen them crawling on the red carpet and twerking. But this is what Sukihana did. Crawling on the red carpet like she ain't never been nowhere, a dog in heat. And we wonder why our image is stained. And when you see Black women, all you think is, oh, they a hoe. Well, if you got baby curls like this is Summer Walker. You got a baby curl like this and all these thick eyelashes. That's why I always tell women, just don't wear that stuff, because all that equates you to is these ladies, sexy red, and they think it's cool to be a hoe now. But it all goes back to how we're raising children. We're raising them out with a father. I'm pretty sure she ain't never met her daddy. And if she did, he probably didn't have no direct involvement in her. Because why would you, a 25-year-old talking about having sex? Oh, and got 2 kids already. But she got 2 kids already, so we know she wasn't raised with her dad. Looking and listening to her makes me rethinking abortion rights. Well, remember what Bernie Mac said. Let me see if I can find that clip. Mac was talking about abortion. And he basically said, we should be able to abort your babies at 5. Well, so yeah, he was basically saying we should be able to abort a kid at 5 because we if we found out that this little explicit is not going to be a productive member of society, we should walk them to the abortion clinic. The shit, it was so hilarious. But you know, that was Bernie Mac. Anyway, if they will allow me to play it, I will play it, but I'm not going to play that. So, speaking of how we were raised, there was a new study that came out. A new study that came out regarding red flags. Now, I already told you, we're not raising our kids to like the more traditional household. We don't raise our kids that way. So some of these kids, they don't believe in God. And if they do believe in God, they don't have their own relationship with God. They have not came from a 2-parent household. Most millennials, I don't even call them, I don't know what they're called, Gen Zs, anybody that's under 25 and under, they're saying that they're more liberals. Okay. And there was a study that just came out. It says millennial and Gen Z women say liking Joe Rogan is a dating red flag. Now, you know, Joe Rogan, he's a white guy. He's more conservative. He's not like on, he doesn't like say he's a Republican or anything. I think he's more independent. He does talk about politics, but he is a stern believer, because since he has a career in fighting, he's a stern believer that there are clear defined roles for male and female, as far as a man is much stronger than a woman. So he's very traditional in that manner. Now, other talking points as far as roles, as far as, you know, political roles versus male and female, I don't think he is one way or another on that. But they said it's a dating red flag. It said more than 50% of women under the age of 35 consider listening to Joe Rogan podcast as a dating red flag. But that's not it. That's not it that they're talking about. You know, Joe Rogan, they're saying that he didn't top the list. That's not what the main list. The main red flag list, they identify as a MAGA Republican. So make America great again, Republican. 76% of women thinks that is a red flag. Men, 59% of men, and these are Gen Zers and millennials, is if you identify as a Republican, or I guess MAGA Republican, I guess that's their own political party, maybe. That's a red flag. Another red flag, you have no hobbies. If you say all lives matter, peep this. They say, and this is really baffling to me. They say there are only two genders, 58%. Now we're talking about young people under the age of 35. Under the age of 35. 58% says it's a red flag if you say it's only two genders. You see how crazy people are? And we're talking about young people. How they already been brainwashed and indoctrinated. And that's more with like the feminist movement going off the rails. Because used to be like old school feminism. Oh, we want jobs. We want the right to vote. We want equal pay as far, equal pay. But they wanted like normal stuff. Now they want crazy stuff that doesn't have nothing to do with feminism. My body, my choice. I'm liberated. I'm free. I'm twerking this meeting with my ancestors, that kind of thing. Now, this is not only alarming to me, but we also have 34% of men, Gen Z men, 30 guys that's under the age of 35, believe it's a red flag. 34% believe it's a red flag if you say there are only two genders. So even men are effed up, because let me bring it back to what I was explaining earlier. 70%, now we're talking about Black homes. 70% of homes are they're being raised in single parent household, and they're being raised by women. So that's why you got these confusion of men. They don't even know how to be a man, because they don't got no damn daddy. Listen to Joe Rogan podcast, A Manly Man. 60%. Well, no, I'm sorry. Joe Rogan, 35% of these men saying listen to Joe Rogan podcast is a red flag. Because they took out all the testosterone. You have women teachers, 75% of teachers are women, so they're getting indoctrinated there. They're saying if boys act too rambunctious, something is wrong with them. 70% of teachers are women, or let me say white women. I think it's like 75% white women. Probably overall 80% of teachers are women. And they already label your child, if your child, especially a boy child, too rambunctious, something's wrong with them. So they're emasculating them at school. Then you have women at home raising their child by themselves, get no interaction with other men. They're being emasculated there. So that's why we have these men thinking like, oh, if you listen to Joe Rogan, which he's a manly man, most of these women probably call him a toxic man. Oh, that's toxic masculinity. Now, they identify as a communist. I would say that's a super red flag. I don't know why would you put MAGA and communists in the same. Why would you ask? Oh, I identify as a communist. Are people identifying as communists now? I didn't know that. But are you saying Republicans are communists? Because I don't get the two. You're conservative, you're a communist. That doesn't even make any sense. I think if you're liberal, you're more communist than anything. You exhibit all those traits of communism because you want help from you want the federal government to take care of you. Basically, you want them to control everything that you do. I'm just going to talk about the larger ones. They said they refused to see the Barbie movie. That's a red flag. 53% of the women and 31% of men. It's a red flag if you refuse to see the Barbie movie. Why would a man will be asking? Now I'm getting on men, because why would a man? This is because we've raised this men to be the B word. Why would a man say, hey, you want to go see the Barbie movie? I wish my husband would ask me, would you want to see the Barbie movie? And I'll be like, okay, where's your balls? Like, really? Have we lost? What have we lost here? Did you fall and bump your head? Like, what's going on with you? You really want to see the Barbie movie? I would actually think I would be getting pumped, because that's unheard of. But we're saying these men under the age of 35 said 31% is a red flag if they refuse to see the Barbie movie. Now, let me put a disclaimer out there. This is why this is not really realistic. Change Research, a polling firm based in San Francisco and affiliated with Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, acquired the data. So that's where, because this is from a San Francisco-based company. So they're saying that they were registered voters between the ages of 18 and 35, asking about the dating preferences. They didn't say if they were within San Francisco. They didn't put that there. They just said registered voters. So we don't know where they got the pool of voters from. And 50% of women said it's a red flag if you don't care about politics. And look, Black lives, they say Black Lives Matter. That's a 14% red flag. Men said that's a 33% red flag. But why is it All Lives Matter? A 60% red flag. So they don't like Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter? That's interesting. They identify as a liberal. 19% of women said that's a red flag, and 33% says that is a red flag. So they're less in the poll. Anyway, this report, or I found this on Value in Entertainment. It says Value Entertainment previously reported an annual monitoring and future survey from the University of Michigan found that roughly 1/4 of the male high school seniors self-identify as conservative or very conservative. 1/4. Only 13 boys identified as liberal within the 3 years of the survey. Meanwhile, 30% of girls in the same age group now identify as liberal. So I could say University of Michigan, they did a study, 1/4 of male high school seniors. I guess when you go through, whatever you're going through, becoming of a man, you start to perceive life differently. I don't know if that happens at, when you get in your senior year or later in life. But you start to take, especially if you have a parent, 2 parents in your household, and especially a man, you start to think about life differently because they already set the groundwork for you to help you succeed in life. Now, I'm not saying everybody that have a 2-parent household and have access to their father has success in raising their kid to make them to get them to, being productive, less promiscuous, all that stuff. I'm not saying that. But your chances of being a successful person is way more, it increased substantially versus someone that have no relationship with their father. And we won't end up with people like Sexy Red. Sexy Red. This girl right here. So, you guys put in a comment in a chat what you think about that. In other news, I just want to let you guys know there were 3 gentlemen, I think it was last year, the year before last, that were acquitted.
Past the hour, we are following breaking news.
They were acquitted. I don't know if you guys remember Governor Whitmer, Michigan governor. There were several individuals charged for trying to plot a scheme to kidnap her and do what? I'm not for sure, but this all transpired around the lockdown. We were locked down for about 3 months in Michigan. I mean, everything was shut down besides liquor stores and a grocery store. You couldn't do anything. So these guys were accusing of plotting kidnapping Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and they have been acquitted. So this is the story about that.
23 past the hour, we are following breaking news. A verdict has just been reached in the trial of the 3 men charged in the plot to kidnap Michigan's Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Joining us now, NBC's Antonia Hilton. So, Antonia, good morning. What's the verdict?
Good morning, Jose. Well, these three men who were accused of being part of this 2020 plot to kidnap the Michigan governor, Gretchen Whitmer, have all been acquitted on all counts. Now, these three men were part of this militia group, the Wolverine Watchmen, and they were accused by the government of being part of this plot, of taking part in drills and surveillance of Gretchen Whitmer's properties. And what they have testified, two of the three testified, saying that they took part in these drills but did not know the plot until the very end. And they weren't some of the central players here. Some of those folks have already been convicted. They are facing up to and about 20 years in prison. But these three men, two of whom are brothers, are off on all charges. And you'll remember, for anyone who hasn't paid much attention to this case recently, this was a big deal back in 2020. It was part of the story of the extremism, the rising rhetoric around that time, a closer look at some of the militia groups in the United States that have been organizing and at times put both voters and politicians' lives at risk here. And so, while these three men have been acquitted and this is the last of the trial, they're one piece of a much larger story, Jose.
Antonia Hilton, thank you so very much.
Well, apparently that guy was happy. But like she said, they were running drills and they didn't realize what they was running the drills for. Would they been a part of the drills if they would have known what their true plan was? Maybe, maybe not. They might be extreme too. But they was planning to kidnap her. And I don't know what they were planning to do to her, but it was a supposedly plan. Somebody put on the tweet, it says, "You mean the three guys coerced by the FBI? This is yet more proof of the corrupt federal government and using the tactics of the KGB." 3 men, and somebody else, but 3 men entrapped by the FBI have been acquitted. And somebody got a Ukraine flag. Very misleading headline. 3 men accused were acquitted. Many others have already been found guilty. Do better, MSNBC. They mad. Well, she said that in the interview. Now listen to this. It says an FBI agent, Special Agent Richard Trask, at the center of the investigation into the plot to kidnap and kill Governor Gretchen Whitmer, is accused of smashing his wife's head against the nightstand and choking her after a dispute stemming from the attendance of the swingers party, according to the court records. He went on the J6 as a part of the Fedsurrection, fell up based on being corrupt under the Democratic Socialist Biden regime. I mean, people have their own conspiracy theory. I would like to read, I wish when people put these tweets up, I would like to read an article what they're talking about. So I can know what their source is. But anyway, maybe they read it somewhere. I'm not for sure.
You can stay seated for 1 second, ma'am, just so that you're aware. The order that I've let the clerk's office know that we're going to receive the verdicts in is the order in which the defendants have been sitting around the table. So William Null will be first, Michael Null will be second, and Eric Molitor will be third. Okay. Would the foreperson please rise? And would the defendants and their counsel please rise?
Yes, Your Honor.
Madam Clerk, if you would please receive, or I'm sorry, Madam Foreperson, I should confirm, we did get a note indicating that verdicts have been reached. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are they unanimous verdicts?
Yes, sir.
Are they unanimous verdicts as to each count for each defendant?
Yes, sir.
Madam Clerk, if you would, please receive the verdicts.
Members of the jury, have you reached your verdict?
Yes.
And as to William Null, count 1, providing material support for an act of terrorism, what is your verdict? Not guilty. For William Null, count 2, Possession of a firearm at the time of the commission or attempted commission of a felony. What is your verdict?
Not guilty, ma'am.
As to defendant Michael Null, count 1, providing material support for an act of terrorism. What is your verdict?
Not guilty, ma'am.
For Michael Null, count 2, possession of a firearm at time of commission or attempted commission of a felony. What is your verdict?
Not guilty, ma'am.
As to Eric Molitor, count 1, providing material support for an act of terrorism. What is your verdict?
Not guilty.
For Eric Molitor, count 2, possession of a firearm at time of commission or attempted commission of a felony. What is your verdict?
Not guilty.
Great. Thank you. Madam Court, ladies and gentlemen, as I described for you, there will be, ladies and gentlemen in the gallery, as the court instructed everybody, there will be no outbursts. There will be plenty of time for this in a few moments. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to thank you for your service on behalf of the people of Antrim County. What I'll do at this time is ask you to go back to the jury room. I'm going to come back there and meet with you. There are some things that we need to discuss, but Madam Court Person, I'll take the verdict. Thank you all very much. Your excuse to the jury. Thank you. First to you, Mr. Ralston. Mr. Nunzio. Mr. Cyber.
Judge, I missed your question.
Anything else we need to discuss?
Absolutely not.
Mr. Barnett. No. Obviously, the bonds will be terminated. You gentlemen are free to leave. Thank you all. We're ready to adjourn. And for the media and for Ms. Janes, there was a petition filed by Mr. Van Dusen for the names and addresses of the jurors. It's a unique request in that the court doesn't generally have that information or use it, but part of the analysis that the court has to do is deals with the safety concerns of them. And so that is one of the things that I plan to discuss with the jurors, and then we'll make a record of it after that. So Ms. James, I'll just need you to stay around for a little while. I don't anticipate that that'll take a long time. The parties are not required to attend if they do not want to. Thank you all.
So that was the reaction for them. So yeah, they got set free, and you know, I guess Governor Granholm is safer. Look at this tweet. Fake gay. Whitmer kidnapping plot. You guys are killing me. If they're innocent, who's guilty? Is there something y'all not saying? Somebody put, unless you're a Republican, then being accused is the same as being guilty. But they're putting up here, FBI had a lot to do. Like, I guess that's the running thing. FBI had a lot of, to do with this plot. So anyway, last thing I want to talk about is Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Now, I'm not going to do this whole thing, but this is Fox doing a timeline on Hunter Biden. And they mentioned that Hunter Biden basically incriminated himself in his book with the gun charge. Okay. This has nothing to do with Joe Biden. And also, Joe Biden already made an announcement saying he will not acquit or pardon his son if he's found guilty for these 3 charges. So, but that's not the main problem here. I think as in people, need to really not get too boggled down with Hunter Biden in his criminal case with his weapons or the gun charges. Because I think it's a ploy to get our mind off what is actually going on. Especially take away our focus from Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's business relationship with foreign leaders in foreign countries. Me personally, I think Joe Biden and Hunter Biden have sold out the U.S. The U.S. is for sale. And this it's been going on for years. So I really think we need to stay focused on that. I mean, I know there's a lot of coverage on what they're talking about, this plea deal, or not even a plea deal, of what's going on with Hunter Biden. But that's just a small drop in the bucket of what's really going on with the Hunter Biden crime family, or the Biden crime family. And also, I want to let you guys know, Hunter Biden is not really a good person. Reason why I'm saying that,
signatures,
not because he smoked crack or anything like that. I'm not saying that. You can have drug problems and still be a good person. I think he's a manipulator. And I think he's 10 times worse than his dad. I just don't think he's as smart as his dad. So I don't know if you guys know, back when Bo Hunter passed away, Bo Hunter was married to his wife. Hunter Biden was married to his wife. And for some reason, Hunter Biden thought it was okay to start a relationship with Bo Hunter, Hunter's wife. Now he's passed away, but this is essentially your sister-in-law. And you have children by your wife. And your children know Bo and his wife as aunt and uncle. And you thought it was okay to start a relationship with her. And he's claimed that they connected because of the pain of their loss. And it's like, that's why your wife is in existence. You're supposed to be connecting with her. Why don't you have a connection with your wife to cry on her shoulder? That's why I think he's a sick person. But he disclosed this information in his book, and they talk about it. Let me see if I can find a clip. Oh, this is it. Now, I don't know when this was taken, but this is from CBS Morning. So this is
his affair with his brother's widow.
A lot of people look at that and think, what were you thinking? Yeah. What were you thinking?
Both of us had gone through the most incredibly painful loss. And it was out of love, and I thought that maybe that love would bring my brother back.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work.
In the middle of that, did you think about how your own kids would look at this?
Yeah, and it was hard. That's all I can say. It was really hard.
Hunter began seeing Hallie Biden after his brother Beau's death from brain cancer. He was still married to his wife, Kathleen. He was interviewed by CBS This Morning's Anthony Mason in advance of the publication of his book, Beautiful Things. He also spoke about the taboo affair on CBS Sunday Morning.
When the news of that broke, how did people look at you?
I think people were confused by it, and I understand that. I mean, I really do. To me, it's not something that is difficult to explain because it came out of a real overwhelming grief that we both shared. And we were together and trying to do the right thing. And that grief turned into a hope for a love that maybe could replace what we lost. And it didn't work.
Relationship expert Dr. Wendy Walsh.
It's so understandable how it can happen when two people.
You see how they're playing like, oh, we should sympathize with him. And this psychiatrist is so understandable how this could happen. How can that happen? Why would you even put yourself in that situation? Well, why are you... Now, one thing I know, his mother passed away. I don't know if it was because of brain cancer or whatever, but you both, tremendous loss. Okay. We suffered a tremendous loss, but I still will fall in the arms of my husband. Vice versa. You should still fall in the hands of your wife. And you're trying to make everybody feel sorry for you. And not to take to, okay, yeah, he's a piece of crap. But the Beau's wife, his sister-in-law is a piece of crap too.
People have both suffered a loss together. There often is a time of bonding. In this case, the relationship was short-lived, but plenty of these relationships can last a lifetime.
Hunter Biden says he was drinking a quart of vodka a day and smoking crack around the clock. He blames his downfall on losing his mother and little sister in a car crash when he was 2 years old.
Okay, so let's say you lost someone at a very young age. People, you're not the first one, Hunter Biden. You lost someone at a very young age, and that's why you're saying I smoke crack as an adult. Talking about being a victim. And that's why you make bad decisions? Okay. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. I don't believe okay, stuff that happened to you at 2, you should wear it until you're an adult. Do you even remember? I mean, by that time, I think Joe Biden was married again to Jill because they got a kid together, don't they? So I don't understand what he's saying. But anyway, that's Hunter Biden. But my whole point is, you guys don't get all caught up with Hunter Biden's gun charge. I believe they're trying to use that as a smokescreen for us to be blinded on what the real thing is going on with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden's dealings. Okay, so that's all I gotta say about that. Thank you guys for tuning in once again this evening. You remember to like, subscribe, and comment and share this channel with all your friends. Okay. And I am heading out. I've been going on for about almost 2.5 hours or 2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours. But I appreciate every single one of you. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great weekend.